Hey guys, thank you for joining us this week. I'm really excited for this episode. I did want to announce though, right before we get started, we did shoot a two-parter episode with our first guest, Breanna. She was phenomenal. We had such a great conversation about relationships and dating and all this other stuff. Me and Shaps wanted to do it from a girl's perspective. And unfortunately, when we shot the episode, we realized that the mics weren't hooked up correctly. So that footage is actually no good. I took it to several people to try and fix it, and unfortunately it just wasn't going to work out. But fortunately for the second part, we still had Breanna on, and we had some fun. We talked about other stuff non-related to dating, and we still had a good time. We got an episode. We do plan to get her back at some point and try to reshoot that episode. The conversation will obviously be a little bit different, but I'm confident it will still be very entertaining and hopefully be basically what I wanted it to be. Again, thanks for Breanna for coming on and joining us. It was such a great conversation. She's a lot of fun to talk to, and I couldn't have asked for a better first guest. So I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and I will see you next time. All right, it is now afternoon. Good afternoon. So unfortunately, last episode we had some technical difficulties. So I think it was our best episode, and I'm actually really upset that the footage might be gone forever. I'm going to turn it over to a buddy of mine, but we'll just have to see. But we did get it fixed, I believe, for this episode. We still have Breanna with us, and she was such a good guest last time. I was really happy with how it went. But she's still here, and we can film a good episode.
The information was too valuable to, put out there for free, so
honestly,
I'm holding it ransom.
Yeah, whenever Daily Wire reaches out, we'll definitely release that missing episode. Honestly, we had such a good talk. I feel like anyone who listened would have a girlfriend immediately. Have the confidence 100%. And ready to go. But hopefully it's not lost forever. I'm optimistic. No one else in here is, so it's okay. Okay, the first thing I would like to talk about now, unrelated to relationship stuff, Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Is anyone here actually still subscribed to Netflix?
When you say to subscribe, and yes, this does lead into the question, I think. When you say subscribe, does that mean we're sharing someone else's account, or we actually own the account ourselves?
Yes, sharing. Are you still using Netflix?
Yes, absolutely. Every once in a while. But I do not pay for it.
Okay. What about you, Bree?
I used Netflix for the first time in months the other day, but I don't have an account. I watched a movie on my sister's boyfriend's Netflix.
Okay.
It was the first time in forever.
Can you explain why you haven't used it in forever?
Goodness, where to start? I don't watch a whole lot of shows. I'm very picky about the shows and the movies that I watch, and Netflix so frequently does not have what I want. They either have switched out their library and they no longer have the things that I want, or they just didn't to begin with. So as far as the streaming services go, Netflix is no longer my preference.
Did anyone ever watch any Netflix originals? Was anyone into that at all?
Ooh, Daredevil. I watched.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, man, I didn't think you'd come out swinging with that. Goodness.
The Marvel Netflix originals. Some of them, at least.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Sidebar. Just Daredevil season 1 was, I feel like, the only, quality, holy crap, Netflix is pumping out these Marvel shows. Nothing else, again, sidebar, let's not get too sidetracked. Nothing else in the Marvel Netflix series had matched that first season of Daredevil for me. Okay, enough about that, though. Anything else? So any other dramas, anything going on that you were watching?
Not really. My sister did recently watch Wednesday, and I mostly watched that with her. It was fine, but okay. I don't feel like Netflix originals usually, with the exception of Daredevil, none of them are just stellar, just incredible right off the bat.
What about you, Shaps?
So I'm really struggling to think of any, honestly. None of them really look interesting to me. I mean, the trailers will sometimes look interesting, but I never actually watched them. They kept up Cobra Kai, but that's not a Netflix original. They just bought Cobra Kai, which I'm a huge fan of that. And what else? I feel like there was a couple of Netflix movies I watched that were okay, but no, nothing really stuck out to me.
Yeah, so back in the early days of Netflix, I thought they were really pumping out some good stuff. Daredevil was the culmination of so many good shows beforehand, and then when Daredevil came out, I was like, man, Netflix is killing it.
Before anyone says in the comments, no, I have not seen Stranger Things, so that's why I didn't bring it up.
Well, Stranger Things was taking a dip for a little bit, because that first season was phenomenal. Season 2, I thought was really good. No one else liked it, because it I wouldn't say sidetracked. It was just so different from the first season, and I loved it. But no one else did. I'm the minority. Season 3, I was very disappointed with. I mean, it was like fine, but it was just kind of like more of the same. And then they ramped it up with season 4, where it's like season 4 is fantastic. But House of Cards, that started off so strong. Like those first 2 seasons. And then the creator left, and that's when the quality started dipping. But like for a while, like Netflix was the go-to streaming service. What do y'all think happened?
Where to begin? I feel like they've made a number of terrible choices.
Okay, well, give me 3. Give me your top 7.
Well, of course, some of them haven't fully been carried out yet, but they've started threatening the ad breaks in Netflix shows and movies, which is just atrocious. They're now working on the password sharing crackdown and removing that ability. Of course, they're still rotating out their library, which is very frustrating at times because something was on Netflix and it's not anymore. So I definitely say those are the top 3.
Okay.
To go on, well, that leads into a deeper conversation, the password
That's what
sharing.
we're all about.
But for me, I just get the impression, do either of y'all get the impression that Netflix just hates its audience?
I definitely get the impression they don't care.
It's not there to like make you happy. It's there to do the bare minimum. Because like their catalog, I've never been like so disappointed in a streaming service's catalog. It's expensive as all get out. Like it's probably more expensive than any other platform right now.
Yep.
And they keep on increasing their price.
Yeah, can someone look up what the current price is for Netflix right now? If I start tapping on my computer...
Well, there's different plans now.
Oh, okay. That's another thing. I don't like to think that hard, so it's already like super complicated. Like if you get the gold tier plan,
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
But yeah, to carry on, like what Bree was saying, like about the password sharing, like it's not that just they're trying to... They were going to. Like they were legitimately like saying, here's what's going to happen. And then they... I think you wanted to lead into this. The internet... fought back, and within like a week, less than a week, they backed off and said, "Oh no, that was a mistake. We didn't actually mean to post that."
Someone accidentally typed up a whole plan that would hurt the consumer and then posted it. Just kidding, guys. Like that was dumb. Did you see that, Bree?
I heard briefly about it. I didn't actually see the post itself, but I do know it's been in the news for the last few days. They did start cracking down on password sharing in other countries.
Yeah,
they're not doing it here just yet, but there was a list of how many additional countries now have these new restrictions on password sharing.
Yeah.
I have the prices if you want to know.
Yeah. Before we get to that, the original plan, they were just gonna like the main account had to be logged into that Wi-Fi, and anyone who came over to that house and shared that Wi-Fi could log into that account. What they were cracking down on was if you were at your own place and you were logging in, say, your parents' profile, they couldn't do that because you weren't logged into their Wi-Fi. But that's how they'd regulate, like, oh, I have it on my phone. I'm sitting at the house watching it while my parents are watching something else in the other room.
And they don't even account for, like, if they were to wipe all those out, they would lose their viewership by, like, half. Like, legitimately, like, you think about, oh, they're not, like, gaining any more money by doing that. But no, but, like, their viewership, though. Like, that's people who watch, who are sharing accounts, that still counts as viewership. So it'd probably be, like, less than 50% at that point, because that's just, like, what you do whenever you leave the house or you have a friend who has it who doesn't mind sharing it. Like that's just what happens, you know. And to crack down on it, Netflix doesn't have a good enough catalog to compete with any other streaming service right now, especially with prices. I have the prices right now. So the new current prices: basic with ads, that's with ads, $6.99. Good quality, that's 720p. 720p.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that for my head? I'm still spinning.
That is 720p for $6.99 a month.
I have a very nice TV.
With ads. That's with ads.
Well, I have a very nice TV that runs things at, not 720p, like way above that. And it's
that is like more than 10 years ago. We're going backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to standard. $6.99 to standard. $15.49 for 1080p.
Well, how much is... Okay, well, let me do some work too, so I'm not being a jerk. How much is, say, Disney Plus a month? Let me look that up.
Way cheaper.
Yeah, let's go to that.
I think it's less than $10.
Yeah, I think it's $8.99.
Yeah.
All right.
And the last one is premium, which is $19.99 for 4K HDR.
So that's the highest one?
That's the highest one.
Okay. Well,
and that's not even going into how many household or how many people can watch on the same device.
$20, right? Okay, Disney Plus, $8 per month.
$8 per month.
And you get the whole, almost the whole catalog. I don't think you can find Mighty Ducks or something like, but you know.
So let's average it
Ducks is
out.
on there,
Let's say the average is the
my
average
producer
is
is telling me that.
$15.49 to beat. That's the average to beat.
Okay.
So Disney Plus already.
What does the $20 thing come with?
It just comes with 4K. It's nothing to gripe about. Most people will purchase the standard.
Yeah. Hulu, $14.99 a month for no ads, I believe.
So, yep, that's about $1 cheaper.
What are you about to say, Bree?
Well, and Disney Plus and Hulu now have a package deal, so
Yeah.
you can get the two of them together.
That's bundled,
And,
so.
yeah, and then of course even just the library size. Now, to be fair, Netflix is still technically second place, but a lot of these are like Disney Plus has only been around since 2020, and so they're still increasing. But Netflix has about 3,600 movies and 1,800 TV shows. First place is Amazon Prime Video with 26,000 movies and 2,700 TV shows.
Oh, man.
It's not even close.
And, like, they got so many noticeable titles, too. Like, they got The Boys. They got... I mean, look, I hated Rings of... Okay, I didn't watch the whole Rings of Power show. But I watched a little bit of it, and I was so bored. But that's a noticeable title, you know. And they got all these really good animated shows now. What's the one that we were talking
Invincible.
Invincible, fantastic.
Watching that right now.
Oh, do you like it?
I'm not very far in, but so far,
Yeah,
But you got past episode 1, right?
yes.
Okay, good.
no,
Fantastic.
phenomenal show. I'm sorry. Like, sidebar: Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, is the one creating. He wrote Invincible, so he's got
comic book, right?
Yeah, he's got such a great catalog of he's just a good writer. But anyway, back in. We're gonna save Netflix today. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm getting sidetracked here.
So yeah, I'm actually more of a HBO Max watcher myself.
HBO Max is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm never dissatisfied with the catalog.
Okay, but catalog, that's the main draw here. So, what's the main problem with Netflix right now? There's nothing on there anybody
so
wants
much
to watch.
garbage that no one cares about.
Yeah,
100%. That's the most time you're going to spend on Netflix. The joke, the meme is you're just going to spend your whole hour or hour and a half looking for something to watch, and you never do. And it's really true. Like, I do it, my parents do it, like all my friends do it. Like, we don't even know where we really keep it. There's just a couple things on there we watch because it's not on anywhere else. But that's it. They used to have The Office. They don't even have The Office anymore.
I know. Like, all the really big shows that were so cool to watch, they took off. Now, Netflix really didn't take them off, but it was like the CBS and Paramount, they were like, hey, we can just start our own streaming. And they took their most noticeable stuff. So that was one big downturn, was that Office got taken off. Parks and Rec got taken off.
So many people left right after that. And now you can see why. Like, why wouldn't you leave?
I think Seinfeld's still on there.
Seinfeld is still on. That's still one of the only things I watch.
Yeah, and last time I was on Netflix, that's what I watched.
And when you're done with that, like, that's it.
Anyone know the worst thing they saw on Netflix?
The worst thing I saw on Netflix.
Because if I'm not interested, I don't click on it.
You mean like watched it?
Yeah, like maybe just first episode.
Oh, okay. It must have been like one of those reality TV shows. But I hate reality TV, so I don't know if it's fair.
You're right. Yeah, you already kind of went into it. That's sort of biased. Bree, do you have anything you watched that was like, ew?
I don't know. I usually don't watch stuff unless it gets recommended to me first.
Yeah.
I'm not usually one who will just go exploring for new shows.
Well, if I'm being honest, I've been recommended so many things on Netflix that when I watch, I was like, it was just kind of, like it had a good actor in it. They shell out money. That's the thing. They shell out some hardcore money to make something. And on paper, it sounds great. Like, oh, this is a Western with so-and-so in it.
Right.
Like, and then just the writing's never that good.
Yeah.
You know, like at its best, it's mediocre. Unless they take a pre-existing show that's already established as an audience and they put it on there, like Seinfeld. Then like, oh, Netflix has some options.
There are certainly a lot of films I want to watch to actually put on my watch list. I just never get around to, just because I forget about Netflix so easily. Two of them. One's The Irishman. I'm just going through all the Scorsese movies, basically.
Yeah, I think that might be the last original I watched that blew me away.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
And the second one I want to watch is All Quiet on the Western Front, which I heard was really phenomenal. So, yeah, those two, and then
I read the book.
I don't know what else sticks out to me. I don't know if I ever. Oh, you know what was a great original? I will say, to be more positive, I actually loved the Series of Unfortunate Events series. I don't know if you saw that.
Did you watch that, Bree?
I did actually.
That was good.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did love season 1. Like, that was actually a phenomenal show. I don't know where it went after, but I've always been meaning to pick it up, actually. But that was a few years ago. That was, quite a while ago. It's up to like season 3 or 4 now. So recently, nothing's really stuck out, especially TV shows. I do not care. It's all garbage in my head.
Yeah. So the main problem is the quality of the content is dipping.
Yeah.
They throw so much money at stuff nobody wants to watch. And sometimes you could hide behind they're trying to be creative or experimental, and I get that, but like the results have never been that great. And on top of that, prices are going up. They keep upping the prices of this crap that nobody wants to watch.
And you can blame inflation, but like no one else really is doing that.
Right.
At least not significantly. Like Netflix is the most expensive right now. I don't quite know what HBO Max costs right now, but Netflix, to my knowledge, is. And it's only going higher. Like they only want to increase it more and more and more. $20 for Netflix. Here's the advantage of the other streaming platforms is that they have not just like new releases, but like for instance, you go to HBO Max. Well, they have everything DC. But kind of like how Disney Plus has everything Disney,
Right.
HBO Max has everything DC. You know, like even it doesn't matter how obscure it is, how old it is, they're gonna keep it there forever. Netflix goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. You can never keep track of what they actually have on stock. So you can't even remember if they had it half the time. You know, you're just like, oh, it might be on Netflix, and you see it. No, of course not. They just have like, I don't know, Adam Sandler movies. It's just, if I want to see like a good comedy or something, or like Scary Movie 5, like they only buy the cheapest stuff they can get, like the cheapest licenses possible. So if they're gonna cheap out, you know, why should I shell out premium cash for a service that I just don't like? I don't enjoy it.
I agree, and it's so expensive. Like $20 for something I'm not gonna watch. I'd rather just pay $20 to buy all of Seinfeld on Vudu for a discounted price, you know, like if that's all I'm going to watch. Bria, are you looking at anything you wanted to just talk about?
Oh yeah, well I had some numbers on.
I do love numbers. Thank you.
Yeah, Netflix is definitely starting to see it. I think they had their first quarterly decline on revenue at the end of last year, the end of 2022. And overall, they had a 12% decline in their net income last year annually. So I think it's really starting to hit them that this is affecting them.
Yeah, the password sharing, though, it almost felt like a knee-jerk reaction to like, oh, shoot, we got to fix something. So a 12% revenue loss, that's huge. So they're like, oh, crap, we got to do something. I think what they're doing is they're punishing people that are already subscribed.
Yeah.
Well, that, but I think it was literally because they were overly confident in their catalog that they thought that all the people they kicked out were just going to buy a subscription. But
that's stupid.
It's not going to happen.
No.
You're right. It is a knee-jerk reaction. Like they didn't put any thought into that. They were just like, well, simplest solution. People keep watching us. You know, like they must want to come back. So kick them all out. See if they come back. And they'll come back. They'll come back. If they don't. So.
If I ever kicked anybody out of my house and was like, they're going to come back. I'm like, no, I'm delusional.
No. I mean, your house has like so many cracks in the floor. You boosted your rent by like,
How dare you? Yeah.
3,000.
Okay. That's a great analogy here. I kick someone out the house and like they're going to come back. My house is in shambles. Cracks in the
haven't
floor.
invested anything into
One
it.
of the showers doesn't work. And then the other shower, toilet doesn't flush.
You
but
buy
I keep
garbage that doesn't actually help anyone.
But I
It's
keep
just-
raising rent.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like expecting them to just deal with it. Yeah, that's not happening. Like, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going over to Hulu's house instead. Like, okay, how do we save it? How would we... We're all now in charge of Netflix. How would we save it?
Gee, how do you save a sinking battleship?
Yeah, the Titanic sinking. All we got is duct tape. How do we do this?
Man, you know, like, well, I don't think any of us are business majors, but because everyone always has the opinion, oh, this is how you would do it, and then like it's like one solution. There needs to be like 6 or 7 really good solutions for Netflix right now. Well, one, they can stop jerking everyone around, like literally just.
Yeah.
We're customers, like someone is paying for it, that's where it all should matter. Like no one else is cracking down like Netflix is. Stop treating your customers like they're the bad guy, like they're the enemy or something, like we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And another thing, just like I don't know who's making the decisions of what shows they should invest in. But if you look at like HBO Max, for instance, like I know they haven't had like a whole ton of bangers recently, but I know they're what's that show, that zombie show that just came out?
On Netflix?
Yeah, HBO.
Oh,
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
I hear that's doing really, really good.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and they get like really good actors for it too. And they do like wonderful marketing for it. Like a lot of people are watching that show right now. For Netflix, the only thing I know that they put a lot of marketing to is like Wednesday, which I don't even.
Yeah.
Again, I don't care. It's just, I don't know how you
but
get.
that show had an audience.
It did have an audience,
And people liked it. You know what I'm saying?
But like, I don't know that people liked it. I only hear because like occasionally I'll see like a good review, but like no one's talking about it, I should say.
I would have to disagree on
Really?
Now, Bree, you're not on social media that much, but I'm seeing a lot of social media stuff about it. Like
Really?
Wednesday being a super fantastic character. Like, and then like memes, like, you know, they can make, obviously they're supposed to be funny, but like when you see a lot of memes based on a show that people like, that's a good, I'd say a good consensus of like audience reaction to where memes in a way I think help carry the longevity of something, a show in particular. So I would have to disagree. On social media, I've seen a lot of
Really?
good stuff on Wednesday.
Okay.
And, you know,
have you seen it?
No, God, no. I know what you're trying to say. Like, you know, you made your point, but like, I know it has an audience. At least.
It has an audience,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, I'm sure every show has an audience. You know, I'm
Velma,
it's doing. I'm sure
the
it's,
TV series.
I'm sure it's doing well, mind you. Like it is
Yeah.
doing well. That's why they're
Yeah.
you know pouring their guts and souls into
Yeah.
it. Why don't we get that treatment for everything then?
Exactly. Like, so I think the problem is they need to pump out better stuff.
What I'm trying to get at is not that the show's bad. I'm trying to get at that Netflix just doesn't
Yeah.
put the effort in. Like they need to be putting that kind of effort into all of their
I
shows.
agree.
The full confidence,
They
not
shouldn't-
just throwing money at
They
crap.
shouldn't throw money at shows that are not going to be good. That like I don't think there's anyone regulating the quality of the content.
Yeah, and a lot of people are so burnt out on Netflix, they're not even going to talk about it if a show's good. You know, they're not even going to discuss it at work or, you know, like with their partner or whatever. Like, it's just kind of goes over their head like it goes over my head, honestly.
Yeah. You gonna say something, Bree?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about last year specifically. I can only think of, and there may be more, I can only think of 2 shows all year that even brought up discussions on Netflix, and that was Season 4 of Stranger Things, which dropped over
Yep.
the summer, and Wednesday.
Yep.
And both of those did decent. They both did good, but 2 good shows in a year is not enough.
That's
No,
so
that's-
sad for a major.
However
streaming
many
service.
shows they put out. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing. I love the idea of binge watching, dropping, let's say, 10 episode series, dropping all 10 episodes so we can watch
sure.
it. I think that's actually hurting it.
I was going to say that.
Okay, good. So explain why then.
Sure. So I think it removes some of the discussion amongst viewers because people are watching it at different speeds.
Yep.
Okay.
So instead of an episode dropping every week like it used to, where you had all week to talk about one episode, there are some people that watch all 8, 10, however many episodes overnight. They binge the whole thing and then they get to work the next day and they're like, I finished the whole season. And the other person is like, I only watched the first episode. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't spoil it for me. So I think kind of forcing everybody to watch it at the same pace. Not only it extends the length of the show, now the show's running for 12 weeks or 10 weeks or however many instead of all at once, but it's also encouraging people to talk about it for that much longer, and it encourages them to talk about it at the same, where they're all on the same pace, they're theorizing about what the next episode's going to be like, they're sitting on each episode for longer amounts of time. I definitely think that is better for the longevity of television shows.
Oh my gosh.
I would
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I would say there's only one downside to it. It's kind of a notable one. Well, the show has to be intriguing.
Yes.
For sure.
If the show is not intriguing, and because there's a lot of shows that have come out recently, and Disney's done a few, where like the first 2 episodes are a drag, and then the rest of them are amazing, wonderful, you know. But you're not waiting for the next one to come out because like it's a week's gone by, and by that time you've already moved on, and you may hear it's good, but you may not come back to it. So I think there's pros and cons to both. I think the pros of waiting and section them out definitely outweigh, but the show has to be intriguing. The show has to be good for it.
Okay, so what you're describing is like how television has been up until binge watching was a thing. Like, yes, we agree the show has to be good to keep people intrigued every week, but I would still say the 1 episode a week format is still stronger because if the show is good, like Bree was just saying, like people are going to be talking about it every week and and then they can go back and rewatch stuff, and I think there's more pros and cons to it.
I would say so, but I still think there are some advantages to. Okay, for instance, like Cobra Kai, they all came out at once, and so many people have watched it. Now that was on YouTube originally, but that actually people kept on coming back to it like over and over and over again because it's so bingeable. And it's because it was like built to be bingeable. It has to do with how you structure your show. Do you structure it to be week by week? Because not every show works like that. Not every show works in a way where you can section off week by week, because sometimes they have filler episodes, and that absolutely kills rhythm. If one show right now, like if a drama show, for instance, the biggest complaint I hear right now is so many drama shows have filler, quote unquote. And that's if there's an episode that doesn't really tie into the overarching story at all. If there's like one filler episode, that just kills everyone's rhythm, that kills everyone's watching ability. And typically, people don't really come back unless it's weeks and weeks later. You have to coordinate that. If the shows are built to be week by week, then absolutely. So, but the problem is Netflix has it backwards. They have shows that are built to be week by week, and they're releasing it all at the once. But there are certain shows that should be, I still would stand by, should be released all at once. If they're like smaller shows, not like big dramas, for instance, not like Game of Thrones or anything, but like if it's a show like, I don't know, anything that's like 20 minutes, like an animation or something, that shouldn't be week by week. That should be like a bingeable. That should be quick and easy and simple to watch. But if it's like, I'm trying to think of like a good example of like I can't think of any Netflix shows that benefit from it. Man, so, besides...
Well, I feel like what you're getting at is like they need to slow down and start reevaluating things. So, Brie, were you going to say something before I go on another thing?
Yeah, I was just going to point out, Disney has started trying this sort of hybrid method where they're releasing the first few episodes all at once and then going week by week after that. Because it is hard initially. If you're setting up an entire new show, it's hard to establish the setting, the characters, the time frame, the scenes, everything in the first episode and not be slow. But Disney has started doing it where they're like, here's episodes 1 and 2, or 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll go week from week. And I think that's actually working out for them.
They're doing it for all their Star Wars shows.
Yeah,
yes, they are.
Yeah,
y'all are so excited. I can tell. Bree's like so excited for anything Star Wars coming out, which is commendable. You watch Bad Batch, and that's cool. I haven't seen it, but
that's about the only one that's actually been like good quality.
You know what the biggest complaint of Bad Batch was? That there's too many filler episodes, and then people dropped off, and then they got to an episode that actually was really, really cool, and then people came back. So it's like finding that nice in between. Personally, I think shows like Bad Batch are benefiting from their new format, like Bree said, like the hybrid format. So that's another thing. Disney is experimenting, like they're actually trying new things. Netflix has done the same thing for years, and they're not budging at all. They haven't tried or innovated at all, which... That's right there. That's what I would change immediately. Just like innovate, like throw stuff at the wall, see what happens. It worked for GameStop.
Well, and I think Disney is also constantly expanding their library instead of trading things out. As far as I know, nothing has been pulled off Disney Plus.
No, yeah.
They've just added to it. They add more original stuff, but they're also adding older. Like they've had months where they're like, hey, there's this movie from 20 years ago, we're going to throw this into our library. And all of a sudden you can watch it again.
Which the reason for that is because Disney owns all of that.
Right.
Netflix doesn't own crap except for their originals. That's why the originals are always going to stay. HBO, they own everything else practically. Everything you think of HBO freaking owns, right? So that's why they can keep their catalogs consistent. Yeah. Netflix was great at first because it was the only one of its kind. Yeah. But now its wrinkles are starting to definitely show.
Let me bring up something. You thank you for that segue. Netflix was the first of its kind, like you said. So the name, the brand, I still feel like is super strong because it was the first one. But it's like you said, that inconsistency. Once other places started making their own streaming services, it took business away from Netflix, and so I feel like they're going the wrong direction, punishing the audience. Yeah. Also, they're just pumping out trash. Let's just be real. But I think the name, the brand is still so strong because their stock went up during COVID. So like it was everybody was like ready to subscribe. And then ever since now things are opening back up, people are leaving their house.
Yeah. I think is that when Disney Plus launched? Was it during COVID?
I believe it was.
Yeah,
it was the year of.
Smartest decision they've ever made.
Well, I'm sure they were working on it before COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. So but they were like, oh, we drop it now. Or
we brought up Daredevil earlier. I'm told that they were, they borrowed the IP Netflix, like some of these Marvel characters, and then Disney was sitting there watching the numbers, like, okay, this is something we need to start looking at, which is something Blockbuster never did, and that's what killed them. So Disney always trying to adapt. They just want more money. Always trying to find out how they can do that. And they're like, okay, there's somebody watching Netflix.
Well, they're competing.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a competitive market. Netflix isn't competing because they kind of have like this disillusion that they're still on top.
Yeah,
that's why they keep upping their prices. They're not competing with their prices.
Yeah.
They think that they're the definitive streaming service. That's why they're trying to lock out people with password sharing. They think they're the definitive service, and if everyone is basically owes them that everyone should subscribe to Netflix. If you watch Netflix,
yeah,
like there's no one else in the world to go to.
Yeah. One more thing. There's one more option we can talk about, and that is Disney buying out Netflix, because they could take that name. The name is great. Like that, the original, it's a strong name. I think if they were bought out by somebody, probably someone more competent with like handling programming, what needs to be axed. I think a problem is Netflix doesn't say no to some series when they should be. So if they had someone who was like in charge, I was like, okay, this show is not a great idea. Axe it.
I don't see how that would benefit Disney in any way. They already have Hulu.
Or somebody.
Someone maybe. Yeah. But then again, it gets to a point where it's such a mess. Like, is it even worth it? They might buy the IPs.
Yes.
But I don't think they'd buy Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It comes with way too much baggage.
Think about something like Amazon Prime. Like, do you think Amazon Prime is like a catchy, like, name and stuff like that? I think something like Amazon could buy Netflix and use the name for their streaming service. Scratch Amazon Prime TV, and then they just have the Netflix brand. Boom. Netflix being owned by something like Amazon.
I don't know. That's still a little weird to me, because when I think of Amazon Prime, I think of like an all-encompassing service. You get Amazon Prime and you get everything attached to it.
Right.
To add
with a subscription to Netflix.
I feel like anything that would buy out Netflix would just overcomplicate it. Again, I most likely see Netflix selling off all their IPs and going bankrupt.
It's called liquidating their assets.
Yeah. I don't see anyone actually pulling them out and buying them out. Like, that may work in the video game industry. It doesn't work in the freaking streaming industry. Like, you have your giants and that's it.
Yeah.
I would think.
What do you think, Bree? Buying out, not an option?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, kind of like you said, there's so much baggage that comes with it that doesn't necessarily mean, I've seen pretty large companies make some dumb decisions before, so it doesn't mean that it won't happen. Yeah. But probably that it wouldn't be a smart decision. It would be kind of interesting to see Netflix as a bundle option, kind of like, Disney Plus and Hulu. But it might end up helping them in the sense that if people felt like they were getting 2 streaming services for the price of one, that might just increase the amount of Netflix viewers they have in total. But the process of actually like being bought out, there would definitely be a lot of baggage that comes with that.
100%.
Well, that was a very good discussion. I want to transition now. I actually have a really good idea, and I'm sorry, Shaps, I know you're starving, but we're not going to go to
Caleb, can I just dig in right now?
No.
Can I just dig in right now? Please.
Self-control.
A little bit.
I want to talk...
Caleb, it's been 2 days.
Let us out.
I fed you 4 days ago. Chill. I would like to talk to Bree about while we have a guest. We were both homeschooled, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about like some maybe pros and cons of that, and talk about just I think there's a good conversation. We've had different experiences. So I want to start with how was your upbringing as in homeschool, and do you think it was better or worse than going to actual school?
Well, first of all, I feel the need to preface after 2020 that this was not homeschool meaning public school via Zoom. This was legitimate, real homeschooling, where my mom, who in my case, my mom is a certified teacher, so I had a bit of an advantage already. She took me
lucky.
She took me out of public school after first grade. And I was homeschooled from second grade on. And
all the way to 18, high school?
All the way through high school. I definitely prefer it. I think I was saved a lot of drama and, unnecessary like stress and all that kind of stuff from being homeschooled. I wasn't exclusively homeschooled in the sense that I did go to what they refer to as a homeschool co-op, meaning that 2 days a week I took classes with other homeschool students and a teacher who was, at the very least, educated in that class that we were, that we were signed up for. So for once I did get to high school and we started getting to maths and sciences that were outside of my mom's area of expertise, I could go to my co-op and they would have other parents there that were, teaching their kids, but they would also teach the rest of the kids that for that class that they were particularly educated in. And so I think it was very beneficial. I went into college feeling a whole lot more prepared for it. The homeschool co-op setup is actually very similar to a college setup in the sense that classes are only two days a week. You're keeping track of all your own stuff. The teacher or professor, just comes in and just does lecture and then is like, all right, I'll see you in 3 days. You're responsible for your own things.
Okay. So I think my biggest hiccup when it comes to homeschooling, I was homeschooled up until high school, and then I transitioned to private school, which also wasn't that good. But I think the biggest drawback for me was social interaction. Now, you actually had a co-op, which was foreign to me until I dated a girl who was also homeschooled, and she told me about their co-op, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was an option, because the only social interaction I got, my mom did her best. Like, there was just so much going on in the house and between her and dad. But so we'd go to church, so she'd sign me up for all these cool programs to hang out with kids at church. So a couple times a week, I'm at church with people. I was the most annoying kid in those groups. So it's like, and it was just because at home I'm being myself, I'm being weird, I'm being cringy. The word is cringy. Ooh. And then I go once or twice or maybe 3 times a week to church in the evening, and then it shows that I'm definitely homeschooled. I'm loud. I'm doing something annoying, but I think it's funny and it's pissing people off. I don't know. How often were you in the co-op stuff? Was it not every day, I guess, but a couple times a week? How was it?
Yeah, so it was twice a week. It was Mondays and Wednesdays when I was in the co-op, and that was all of high school. Okay. So prior to high school, I had less social interaction, so to speak. My mom definitely still got us involved in stuff. We did go to a church event during the week. And then I was in a soccer team, and so my mom definitely put effort into making sure that we got socialization in other forms, even when I wasn't in the co-op, because that is usually the biggest thing people bring up as far as the downside to homeschooling is, well, how are you going to socialize your kids? And it's like, well, you have to put more effort into it for sure, but it can be done. It's definitely possible. It
can be done. And like I said, my mom did great. I still ended up very well, so I'm not, I don't want to blast anyone who brought me up at all. So I think the biggest thing, I don't know, I did do sports stuff. So I guess that in theory should help. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just I'm not saying
you were just annoying.
Yeah, I think that has to be it. I'm so glad I grew out of it. But
yeah, you grew out of it already.
Hey, Shaps, I've heard you talk about how cringy you used to be.
Oh, when I was homeschooled? Absolutely.
You were homeschooled too?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
How long till... Hold on, I'm sorry, audience. This is news to me.
Oh, breaking news.
We don't even need a guess for this one.
Did you really have to... You really didn't... You really couldn't tell, huh? Yeah, I was public school.
I thought you were just weird.
No, well, yeah, but... I was public schooled up into the 5th grade. Then I was homeschooled all throughout. And I didn't have no co-op either.
See, that's the thing. How come we didn't do a co-op? I don't know. I have to ask my mom about that.
Well, my mom, she did her best, but I don't really... Sorry, Mom. I don't think she really knew how to homeschool, and she probably admit to that. Because I didn't even, they weren't even my mom and my dad weren't even my teachers. Me and my sister were sat in front of a computer screen for 4 hours a day. And let me tell you something. I actually, it's weird. I like teachers. I like tests. I hate school, though, because I just never could care about it. I always did good in grades, but I just never cared about it enough. And when you're just looking at a computer for 4 hours, oh my gosh, you just do not care at all. And there's no one to talk to, and there's no friends at all. And I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I'm outing myself here. It is so easy to cheat on those programs.
Oh man!
Not even for a compute. Not even for a non-computer geek. At that time, I didn't know anything, but I knew how to cheat on those things because they make it so freaking easy.
Yeah.
I turned out okay though.
You did. I know. Sometimes we're down on ourselves. Bree's been great. She hasn't been down on herself, but you and me, Shaps, especially, been down on how we are as people now. And I know we feel like it's harder to function, but I think we turned out great, honestly.
Oh, all things considered, yeah.
Yeah. We talked about last episode that may not air. I'm so sorry, guys, but we talked about in last episode how it was just a process. We kind of just had to grow up, and sometimes we don't like who we think we don't like who we are, but if we just embrace it and not think of it as a drawback, I think we turned out great. Honestly, we have drawbacks, but so does literally everybody else. Like everyone else has drawbacks. That's the thing.
The only like major thing is like sometimes I don't know. Have you gone through like life and like there are certain things that everyone knows except for you?
Like what stuff would they know?
I don't know. It's something like whether it be like financial or medical. Like I don't know when you first got insurance or something, or when you first had to deal with bills. I don't know. Like
everything's a learning curve.
I had to learn. So I felt like I had to learn most of that myself. And a lot of people had like no problem with it because they were, they had like helicopter parents or they had people all around them all the time. There were like certain things I was like, oh, everyone would know at my age normally, but I just never came across it.
I don't think that's your fault because I went to public high school and they didn't teach any of that. They didn't teach you how to file taxes. They didn't teach you how to, do all this. All the stuff you're talking about, paying rent. No one can prepare you for that. That life experience is the best experience, like in-person training. What do you think, Bree?
Well, I kind of had the opposite situation where I went in knowing more than my peers on a lot of things. And I think part of that was my mom started realizing that a bunch of kids were going to college and like had never done their own laundry. Like it was as simple as I don't know where to put the soap in the washing machine. Like some of them it was really bad because their parents had just done everything for them. And all they had done up to this point was schoolwork. And they may have good grades, and they were book smart, technically speaking, but the home ec class was not really doing enough for their home education. And so my mom turned our quote unquote home ec class into, okay, we're gonna teach you how to file your taxes. We're gonna go over what it looks like to if you were living by yourself. Here's how you cook without burning down the kitchen. Here's how you we did a lot of that. And I also think it drastically depends on the parenting style as well, because I have homeschool friends that their parents were as hands-off as possible, and they missed out on quite a bit. I have a friend that never actually graduated because his mom kind of quit about halfway through his junior year, and he just ended up getting his
high school equivalents or GED.
GED. Yeah, the GED.
The GID.
He ended up getting the GED like when he was 19 or 20. He finally went back and was like, I need this just so I can get into better jobs and stuff. So it definitely depends on the type of homeschooling as well.
Yeah. My mom did her best. There was so much going on in the home life. Biological dad was not helping. So even like when it was time, like, hey, Caleb cheated on his test today, he didn't like to try to like correct me, discipline me, whatever you want to call it. Like he didn't do anything about it. It was just so disconnected. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of really depends on the parents. And there was also a certain point, like this is nobody's fault. It's just like when I got to a certain point in the math, my mom could only help me so much because she had to start looking at the same book I was looking at, and she, homeschooling's tough. I think that I can't. I don't think I could do it.
It's definitely not for everyone.
There are some parents who are like that is their full-time job, and they do it,
and good for them,
perfectly. I wish it was a little. I mean, I'm sure it is nowadays. I'm sure homeschooling is way more accessible to some parents because, like, it used to be like. Yeah, you bought a bunch of parents would buy a bunch of books, and then they would do every little thing. Nowadays, I feel like there's a lot more tools, to help and a lot more aid, because it's so huge now. There's huge communities for homeschooling. Like it used to be just like every once in a while you'd find one weird kid who was homeschooled. Now it's like I wouldn't say 50-50, but like majority of people I know at least have been homeschooled. But it also depends on how much you're willing to put into it. Like I said, I had a similar situation, like my parents did the best they could, but in order for it to be successful, at least when I was, a kid, you have to put in as much as you're willing to for your kids, I suppose,
We could go all day on this topic, so we're approaching the cutoff time. So I want to ask, Bree, do you want to homeschool your kids? Is that your goal?
I definitely do now. I originally said that I did not, I would put my kids in public school simply because I planned on having a job, and as impressive as my mother is, she's homeschooled 6 of us. She didn't. She had no job. She was a stay-at-home mom, full-time gig. However, I've watched through the news and other sources the things that happen at public schools now, and I just don't feel comfortable putting my kids in it. And that's different for everybody. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But it's no longer even the educational side of it that I'd be comparing. It's just the things that happen at public schools that I would not be willing to risk that with my kids anymore.
I can't disagree. So I mean, hey, let you Shaps. If you're whoever
military
you
school.
I agree. Gosh darn it. Trump needs more supporters. Okay. I'm sorry.
And there's the option of private school as well. I feel like we can't discount that. But
would you be comfortable with that either?
Idea.
Yeah, just discount private schools. That's the real issue. Is it's expensive.
I would consider it again.
Yep.
Cost is a big deal.
Yep.
But there are some very strong. That's what I'm looking for. Strong convictions in public schools. I mean, in private schools. So I would at least consider it.
Okay. Shaps, now for real though, how do you feel about it?
Oh yeah, they're not going anywhere near public school. I'm not. I'm actually a pretty decent teacher when it comes to like useless things. No. Whenever I'm like confident about something and like competent at it, I'm actually a pretty good, decent teacher. But like again, I did well with grades. But like when it comes to school, like I only cared about it so much. So I'd probably need some backup in that area, to teach kids. But I feel like I could also teach them a lot of other things like life skills and whatnot.
In homeschooling,
I would do my exactly. I would do my best at least. Okay. That's all I can say.
Okay,
I would do my best in homeschooling.
I'm gonna say no.
Really?
Yeah. No. If she really wants to, we'd have to talk about it and be like, hey, here's my concerns with it, so this is what we're going to have to really pay attention to. My biggest thing is they have to have social interaction. And if we're going to have to say whoever I'm with is like, I struggle with math. The kids need to learn how to do some math, so we're going to have to pay somebody to come in and do it. I'm not against it. It's just we have to be committed to it. Yeah. And we have to both be on the same page. And that was a problem with my growing up was Dad was not on the same page. He didn't help. When he was home, he wasn't home, but also when he was home, he didn't help. So we both have to be in agreement. It's just I want my kids to grow up at least be social and have some good social interaction. That's my biggest thing. Because if you're not a good student, you're not gonna be a good student no matter what no matter what anybody teaches you. That's a choice you also kind of got to make on your own. So I'm leaning toward no. I would prefer either public school or private school is fine too. But I mean,
I at least put my kids through co-op.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that was a thing when I was growing up. So.
Same. I didn't know until I was 26, because I started dating
Can I go back to that, please?
Yeah. No. But again.
You know what's weird? The sick thing is that everyone I know who went through co-op is way more normal than I am.
Well, to give you an idea, homeschooling has gotten so popular. There is a homeschool book fair every year.
Wow.
Where you can go compare like math curriculums. Like I was on Matthew C. That was a curriculum I've used for years.
If you could see my face right now, I'm very disgusted.
He's very disgusted. And when I got to high school, they switched me from Matthew C. to Saxon. Because...
you Saxon.
Man,
yes.
I'm just nodding. Yeah, that's great for you.
Saxon was good up until no one could help me with the work. So.
Yes.
I actually hear there's a homeschool dating site now.
Okay, stop.
Really?
Let's not do this. We're almost out of time, okay? Dang it, I want to unpack that. That sounds horrible. Oh, no.
I mean, come on, there's also homeschool prom.
There is.
Man.
I've had bad prom experiences with everything. I think kids need to go to school. They need to get bullied and learn how to stand up 100%. For themselves. 100%.
If they don't get bullied at school, I'm going to bully them myself.
That's right. You shove them in the homeschool locker.
Closet.
You get in there. Anyway. Okay, homeschool book fair sounds so weird. I'm being honest here. I'm sorry.
She was so excited, oh my gosh, by the way, did you know? Actually, there's
And I'm sitting here
we compare math curriculum.
My kids are going to grow up so weird. Anyway. Okay, last section. We got a few minutes left. Shaps is really excited about this because he's starving. His mouth is wide open for this.
Yeah.
Okay. I love the sections where we get to try some food.
Yes.
So, anyone here a fan of the Jonas Brothers?
Not particularly.
I would say the silence before anyone said anything.
Should I be?
No.
Okay.
In fact, there was a good South Park episode about them. I thought it was pretty funny. But anyway, they have their own line of popcorn. And I have here 2 bags. The first bag says Rob's backstage popcorn. It is sweet and salty. So, see, Jonas' secret, sweet, salty, and savory seasoning. Why is it a secret? It almost makes me want to not eat it.
What's he hiding behind there?
Yeah, for real.
The paparazzi care?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me read this description. I'm sorry. Years ago, I started making this flavorful popcorn from my home kitchen. I highly doubt that. After a concert, Nick Jonas, longtime friend and bandmate of my son Greg. Oh, it's not even... this guy's not even related to them.
Oh my gosh.
Greg tried the recipe and immediately fell in love with this unique flavor.
Geez.
Sweet and salty sounds like a generic flavor you'd get in any popcorn, but it says unique flavor.
You know what? The next one should be called Canceled Caramel.
Nick knew he needed to share it with his brothers, and my popcorn quickly became the Jonas Brothers' favorite backstage snack. I highly doubt that.
Oh, yeah, they have it. Oh, by the gallons now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the Jonas Brothers. Nick, Joe, and Kevin described it as unlike any other popcorn they had ever tasted. The perfect blend of sweet, salty, and savory that kept them coming back for handful after handful.
Okay, hold on.
This is getting weird.
I love popcorn. It is arguably my favorite snack ever. I have never spoken about popcorn like that.
How long? How big is this bag? It sounds like what's a book's worth.
Handful by handful.
And they have all the stupid little all their signatures in the bottom.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's gonna
even
fool
then.
us.
That's doubtful. I don't even know they actually signed. Hold on, let me finish reading it.
Oh my god, you're not done?
No, I'm only halfway through, buddy.
Oh my god,
we still got 10 minutes left in this podcast. All right, let's see. Sorry, guys. As the years went on, he's telling us a story. Pull you up a chair, pull up a stump. We're about to talk around this.
My ex-wife.
As the years went on, I was getting more encouragement to share it beyond my circle of family and friends. And now, with great joy, I consider it an honor to share it with you. Oh.
It was a secret. He was keeping
he just
himself.
couldn't wait. Okay, Bree, your favorite snack is popcorn?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I've always liked salty foods, and so there's just like if you get the butter and salt ratio perfect, it is fantastic.
Do you pop your own, or do you use Redenbachers or something?
I do have like the kernels that are not like bagged, that I can pop myself, and then I do real butter and salt if I have the time. Usually I just do bagged popcorn if I'm in a rush. I'm
sorry, when you lead groups once a week or every other week, do you make your own popcorn or do you use from a bag?
Usually for those I use a bag because I'm usually busy, but on nights where it's just me and I'm gonna watch a movie by myself, I will make the fancy popcorn.
Will you next time we hang out? Will you make the good stuff?
Sure.
All right,
absolutely.
I will tell my audience how it went.
Okay.
And we call it a backstage secret.
But that's already copyrighted by this bag here. Backstage secret.
My bad.
All right, Bree, I'm gonna have you go first, or just at least grab it.
All right.
Yeah, and then Shabs, here you go. Get you a handful. There's 2 bags. The other one's barbecue. I hate barbecue anything, so
really,
we'll get to that in a minute.
You live in Texas, sir.
Yeah,
Get
sorry.
like real fancy.
No. I like real barbecue, but not barbecue flavor. Anything.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I like Thank you for making me clarify that. All right, guys. I got a handful of the sweet and salty super secret. Whoa, you're smelling it, Brie. What do you think?
It smells good.
Oh, man.
So far, so good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
I'll cut out all this chewing. Sorry.
Wow. I've never been so overwhelmed by such mediocrity.
I was gonna say it's good. It's not bad by any means. It's just not like outstanding or anything.
I'm sorry.
Like that.
How can the Jonas Brothers be handed a bowl of popcorn, be like, oh, this must be the backstage stuff, and not, oh, it's a bag of popcorn.
Well, do you think as soon as the guy leaves, they just start like, and they're like, can someone bring us more?
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
I completely missed that part. Who is this guy? What's his relationship to them?
I just read the whole thing.
I know, but I forgot.
It says every bag is special.
No, what did he do?
He says, I think
his son was in their band originally.
Yeah, bandmate of my son.
Oh, he got fired. I see. And now he's like, I'm gonna get some
brought
back.
this popcorn, guys. My dad made this. Get out. You're fired.
Who let you in here?
Yeah. So does anybody want more of this bag?
I'll take a little bit more.
Oh, here you go.
Pretty good.
Okay, so
Try not to drink
it did
I'll try a
advertise.
little more.
Okay, it did advertise handful after handful. So
Yeah, all 2 of them.
I will admit, I do like that this has just a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah.
I don't usually want that in my popcorn, but when I'm prepared for it, it's good.
I'm saying like the flavor isn't like super strong. It's there, but
Yeah.
it feels.
It is
more
actually
like...
better the second time, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. Well, now you got me going for another one.
No, seriously, there's a lot more flavor in that one.
I don't know.
I will say, I actually really like.
I think you're just really hungry.
No, seriously, I got a lot more. I actually really like gourmet popcorn too, so I like all kinds, sweet or salty. Can I have one more? Handful after quote unquote handful.
This is not an endorsement, but we are going back for thirds.
If they want to sponsor us, I got you. This is the best popcorn I've ever eaten. Well,
now would I go on my way to buy it? I don't know, maybe,
you say maybe, so you would actually buy this on your own money?
possibly. How much was it?
I was about to say price. That's
Oh, I mean, it wasn't expensive, but like I don't know, I prefer the white cheddar stuff you get in the black bag. I forget the brand.
Maybe I just really like popcorn. I don't know.
Well, okay. We joked earlier, but Shaps really is actually really hungry, so he might be a little bit more forgiving. All right, the second bag. Oh, it has a different description.
there.
No.
And it doesn't have the Jonas Brothers on
That's
it.
right, but
Wait a
it still
minute.
has their.
It still has their name.
It's
No,
still-
wait.
Well, hold on. Let me look at this.
It's
second.
still Rob's backstage popcorn.
Yeah,
But it's
and-
not. That one says Kelly's Classic.
Who the heck's Kelly?
Kelly
Well, read the
Clarkson.
description.
Okay, Rob's. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, on the back.
I know, I got you. I'm just like, I'm okay. It is Kelly Clarkson. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I was beyond thrilled to team up with Kelly Clarkson to create Kelly's Classic Barbecue, an exciting new addition to the Rob's Backstage Popcorn lineup. There's only 2 flavors, so I don't what he's talking about. This flavor pulls from Kelly's southern roots to create a sweet and smoky barbecue flavored popcorn, unlike anything you've ever had before. Like I stated earlier, I don't like barbecue flavored anything, chips.
Does this guy make his living just going backstage to any celebrity he can find, shoving popcorn in their face and be like,
Oh my gosh.
Try it. You'll like it.
Stick my name in it.
what is it? Oh my, I'm so confused. I want to meet this man.
Yeah, if we
Then
have
he'll
him
come on this podcast and we'll try his popcorn, and then we have our own.
You hear that, Rob?
Hear that, Rob? I'm a fan.
Yeah, that's a good question. What flavor popcorn would you want? Like if you made your own one of these.
That is a good question. Okay, I do much enjoy like salt and vinegar flavor stuff.
Okay.
But is that too basic, or is it like should I try to come up with something different?
Try to put a little spin on it. Like one of those zesty spins.
Salt and red vinegar. No,
Ooh.
that
Like
sounds so
combine.
bad.
I would say combine 2 flavors or something like that. That usually aren't.
Salt and vinegar.
Okay.
Boom. 2 flavor. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we
I would do ketchup and mustard.
We can.
Oh my
Ew.
goodness.
That's it. No popcorn for you. All right, so I can't put it off any longer. Everybody grab a handful of this.
Yep.
Kelly Clarkson put her name on this. So next we get George Lopez flavored popcorn from Rob.
Honestly.
All right, hold on. Let me
He's
first.
just sneaking behind with a cart like, oh.
My cabbages. All right. Here we go. Ready, go. So again, it is very like a muted flavor.
Mhm.
It's like faint.
It's faint, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. Suppose you take the popcorn out of my mouth. Okay, I don't like barbecue. This does nothing to... Oh, sorry, it's getting caught in the back of my throat. It does nothing to change my mind. How about y'all? Do y'all just like barbecue flavored stuff?
I don't usually like barbecue flavor stuff. This stuff is not bad. I think because it's so faint, it's pretty tolerable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I can
That's
eat that.
probably
'cause
what it
it's-
is.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
As he goes for more.
I like this a lot. Handful after handful.
Maybe we should starve ourselves before every food tasting just so we can be like, yeah.
I
I'm
would
telling
definitely,
you, that's not it. Like I genuinely am enjoying it.
yeah, I would definitely prefer the sweet and salty over the barbecue, but I would eat both of these. If one of those 2 bags was available, or if
Yeah.
only one of those 2 bags was available, I would still eat it. Like, it's still good.
Yeah. So I'd have to go if he makes a white cheddar. I'd be willing to come back for another episode and be like, all right, here we go, guys. Like,
The Third Wheel of Cheese podcast.
ooh, that sounds awful. I think it's one of the worst things you've ever said.
It's
on
the
the show.
3 cheese backstage, popcorn. So
Rob
3
is
cheeses.
rolling over in his grave. When did Rob die? I don't know. Have you tasted his popcorn recently?
Some celebrities still say they see his ghost backstage.
Ooh, eat this. Well, guys, I think this has been a very productive episode.
Can I keep these bags?
They're all well. Bree, do you want them?
I want at least some before he takes them. I'll like, grab a handful and run away.
Now,
Go for
guys,
it, go
no
for
fighting. Rob's got plenty for everyone. You can find this at any Walmart.
I literally am putting my own foot in my mouth. I actually really like this stuff.
He does. He's going crazy. I don't know if you can hear it in the mic, and I hope we can cut that part out. But he's going at handful after handful, just like the bag promised.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. This has been a good episode. We're going to work on the last one. Hopefully we can get it to you, but I'm the only one hoping that there's a chance. But, Bree, I really appreciate you coming on. I think we've had some really good talks. I think we could do this more.
Just like relationships, you're the only one who hopes that you can get it to work.
I hope your mic falls as you're trying to talk. Did you have fun, Bree? What do you think?
I had a blast. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so honored to be the first guest.
Dude, yeah. I mean, whenever we're talking about guests, you're like the first name on the list, basically. I was like, bro, we got to put her on.
I'm flattered.
Yeah.
If you ever want me back, I will return. And
Oh.
I'll just remind everybody, I was the first one.
We'd love to have you back. Thanks for joining us. As usual, I'm Caleb.
I'm Shaps.
And I'm Breanna.
All right. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Bye.